I state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Manahil Khan,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Manahil Khan,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Manahil Khan,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Manahil Khan,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Manahil Khan,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
in student life
Can everyone hear me? So if you already haven't, can you please scoot forward and try to get in the seats at the beginning of the Ostrander, just because it'll be a discussion. We're not going to be calling on you. And then people online, hopefully you can hear me. Please try to have your cameras on, because it's nice to see faces when you're talking, especially considering the chancellor will be here, the university president of St. Cloud, and other people. So it's nice to see faces. So if you can, please turn it on. And then please also, when you hear questions being asked, think of things to talk about, because at the earlier listening session, there's only 5 students, and I was one of them. So we really need to be out there and speaking our minds, because they really want to hear from us. So please don't hesitate to speak, and please answer the questions. We probably won't get through everyone to answer every single question, since he only will be here about 45 minutes-ish. So yeah, and we'll be starting at 4:15-ish.
And then also, when you guys have things you want to say, I'll have you line up at the mics. But it's not going to be like, I need to recognize you to go up like in a normal meeting. So just go ahead and line up, and then I'll alert the chancellor that there's somebody in the audience.
And we'll probably rotate back and forth. So if like there's 2 people there, 2 people there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for taking the time, all the student leaders. Appreciate that. I like the stage and the dais there, but appreciate it very much. Looking forward to this conversation. So I will first, we'll go through some introductions, but I would pass it on to Steve Barrett so he can introduce you the search team and introduce, and they will have an opportunity to introduce themselves a little bit to you. And also, as you provide us your feedback and input, your advice and counsel, please give us your name, your major, and we'll go from there. That'll give us the context as to the in which you're providing us your perspective. So with that, Steve, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chancellor. For those of you who I have not met, I'm Steve Barrett. I'm the Director of Human Resources with the university. And I, along with Sherry Sargent, the President's Chief of Staff, are the campus liaisons for this President search. We'll be your connection to the system office and our search consultants as this search continues. Before we get started, we'd like to introduce some of the people who will be working and are the players in this search process who will find us our next president. We'll start with our colleagues at the Minnesota State System Office and Sue.
Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Applequist. I serve as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Human Resources. I've been in this role for about 8 years. Prior to that, I was the HR Director at North Hennepin Community College for many, many years. And in my tenure with Minnesota State, I have been involved with a number of presidential searches, and I've been asked to help with executive search management for this year. So I really appreciate being here and hearing what you have to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Let's hear from Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee Hogeboom, and I am the Executive Search Manager for the Mankato search this year. I recently retired and have come back to work on this particular search and 2 other presidential searches, and I look forward to working with you folks to find a new president for your institution.
Thank you. We have representatives from the executive search consultants who are with us. We'll start with Betty.
Everyone, good afternoon. The day is almost over for you. I am, as Steve said, I'm Betty Asher, one of your search consultants working on this particular search. We've probably done a couple 300 of these by now, but there's probably not one that's more special and dear to our heart as this one. And so I'm really anxious to hear your thoughts and comments today. Our role is really one to help talk to people across the country, get them interested in the opportunity, and present them to your search committee so that they can do their own screening and interviewing. And we'll, of course, do some background work. And we're always here to do anything that we can do from a service capacity to work with this great team that you're meeting as we're doing our introductions this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to one of your colleagues, Lauren.
Hey everyone, I'm Lauren McCarran. I work with Betty, and I also assist her with all those conversations with the great prospective candidates that might be your next president. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really value the student perspective, and I know everybody has a little bit of Zoom fatigue, so we appreciate it all the more.
Thank you. Let's hear from my colleague, Sherry.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. As Steve mentioned, I'm the Chief of Staff in the Office of the President. I apologize, my internet's a little unstable this afternoon, so I'm keeping my video off, but I am here and I'm glad to be here and serving as a search liaison for our campus with the system and the search committee. So thank you again for being here.
Okay, thank you. And next, let's hear from the chair of the search committee, Robin.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're hanging in there. It's been an interesting fall semester, no doubt. And I'm just delighted to be here. I am serving, starting the 3rd year of being the president at St. Cloud State University. And I'm honored to serve as the chair on this committee and looking forward to working with MSU Mankato faculty, staff, and of course, students on this really important search. So great to meet everybody and look forward to staying connected with you over the search.
Great, thank you. And all these people are here to listen to you, to get your input on what you need from our next president. And to begin the conversation and to facilitate the discussion, I turn it back over to Chancellor Malhotra.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And again, hello, Mavericks. Thank you for joining us today. And I very much appreciate your role as student leaders. And I want to thank you for your service as student leaders for your fellow students. So I think as our search consultants and we try to build a strong pool for potential candidates, often those candidates would ask us the question, how do students feel about the university? And we want to be authentic in answering that question. So maybe that's where I'll start with you today. Give me some sense as to how should we answer that question for the potential candidates. What are some of the things which you think have worked very well for you in your experience, where the university has some challenges and it can improve a bit? Anything in between, everything is par for the course. And so I want this to be a free-flowing conversation. And if you want to talk about something else, that is fine too. But it would be helpful to us to have a good sense as to how all of you as student leaders feel about this university, where you consider to be the strengths of the university, where you consider some challenges, and why. Why did you pick MSU Mankato? I'm sure you had a lot of choices, and how has that choice worked out for you? So again, as I said, please indicate your name, your major, your position within the leadership structure of the student union, and or student government, I should say, and then give us your perspective. Anybody can start. If first person starts is an icebreaker, so you are the trailblazer. So let's see who's the trailblazer here.
Good evening, Chancellor
Somebody-
Malhotra.
Yes.
My name is Manav Mendonça, and I am the Coordinator for Academic Affairs and Senator for College of Business. I really appreciate you coming and taking the time to listen to some of the things that we get to share, and listening to our input about this the presidential search. You touched on trying to identify what we as students really appreciate about this college, and me being an international student that has come from Hong Kong, coming across the world, I think that our college has huge strength in being inclusive and being diverse and welcoming the international community. So my question to you would be, during this presidential search, what would be your kind of criteria to allow how would you be incorporating this into the presidential search? How would you be able to identify a candidate that would be able to continue this and even strive to, make this even better than what is already happening, if that makes sense?
Sure. Yeah, a great question. And in fact, in your question itself is some of the answer. Because how does this information get into the search process? So here we listen to the information, and then our search consultants will work with our search chair and our logistical staff, and they will sort out this information, and we develop what we call campus profile. We have to introduce the campus to the potential candidates, and then also what we call position description. That is really another name for laying out the expectations. What do we expect from the leader? And what you tell us, that really informs those documents. And then our search consultants also have direct conversations with the candidates, and they can also lay out for them what the students think about the university. And so I think that is the way in which your voice will get incorporated. And then some of you will also serve on the search advisory committee. And so So you will have another channel through which you can provide ongoing feedback and input. But all through the search process, whether you are on the search advisory committee or not, if you feel either individually or collectively that you need to provide us with additional feedback and input, please do not hesitate. You can share it with Steve Barrett or Sherry Sargent, and they will make it available to us and the search consultants so we can incorporate that. So I'm seeking your partnership on an ongoing basis. Hope that helps.
That definitely does. Thank you for your response.
So again, the question on the floor is, what brought you to MSU Mankato, what you consider to be the strengths, and where you see some of the challenges, and what are your expectations of the next president?
Hi, my name is Patrick Flynn. I'm a residential life senator for the student government here. My major is IT, but I'm a grad student. My path to where I am today has been a little convoluted, to say the least. Yeah. I started later than most college students, but sought to gain a traditional college experience, which has been a little difficult. I had trouble assimilating with the campus community for probably the first 3 years I was here. I guess what I want to communicate to you, Chairman, and to everybody else on the search committee is please take into consideration the difficulties that face non-traditional students who go to MSU, in addition to those who seek to still receive the traditional university experience, despite being a little older. When I first came to campus here, I faced quite a bit of, I don't want to call it discrimination, but a lot of hesitancy from both students, staff, and faculty based upon my age once they realized I'm 28 right now. Thankfully,
You're very young where I am. But please continue.
I've managed to work out my own spot here. So I guess I've been lucky in that regard, but I don't want students who follow me to have as difficult of a path that I have had here. I want MSU to improve, to become better. I want people to want to come here, not because, you know, crap, I didn't get into the school I wanted to, I guess I'll go to Min State. This is a good school. And yeah, I guess that was the feedback I wanted you to be aware of in picking the next president.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your journey. And thank you, most importantly, for sharing your perspective. That is important because whomever we pick as president, we expect them to be president of each and every student on that campus, whether traditional or non-traditional, and each and every faculty, staff, and students. So thank you for sharing your perspective. Who else will go next? Yes, please.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Manahil. I am an international student. I'm from Pakistan. I am one of those students who took a 17 hours flight to come to this university to go to college and take my education. The reason I picked this college was because of the diverse opportunities this college provides, the scholarships that international students and all other students get. So first of all, I really want to appreciate that the opportunities we get here, the scholarships, all the experiences and everything. one thing that I really appreciate about our current president is and I think I speak on behalf of all the international students here, is how welcoming he is to the idea of international students, how appreciative he is to the fact that we come all the way from our hometown, our home countries to study here. Some of the things that I want to raise here is still that we have a lot of interactions between international and other students, but still there's some gaps that I see. For example, when the orientation happens for international students, it's separate than when it happens for the national students. And I would also communicate the reason is because international students have to deal with their visa and arrival days and everything. But other than that orientation, I would like to have my next president of the university to be looking at the factors where they can close the gap between the national students and international students. Starting from the very first experience they have in this university is their orientation week. So if we can, a lot of times we have only international students as the student mentors of that orientation. I would like the national students, the students who are born and raised up in US, to be those mentors, because they're the people who have lived here, and we're coming in and looking at the experience we're gonna have in US from their eyes. So I would love for those students to be involved in the orientation, and then I would love the international students to be involved in the orientation that national students have. They're separate timings, so maybe look into the options to make it connected to each other, so that we, coming in, we have very first experience that we have, not just with international, but also with national students.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that perspective, and thank you for your suggestion that that you would like to see better integration of international students with the overall functioning and cadence of the university as a whole. And as I was hearing you, I think what is important for us and the new president is to focus on the word student and less on international or domestic. And that mindset will lead to integration. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
We have a student raising their hand. Catherine, go ahead and join the conversation.
Hi there, I'm Kat Nelson. I'm currently in my 5th year here at MSU. And one thing that I would like to see from the next president of this university is intentional transparency. I think right now, with all of the things going on in the world, with COVID, the political climate, everything, having a president who's very open about here's where we're at, here's how this affects MSU, and here's the stance that we as a university are taking, and kind of being upfront about, like, one of the things that I've noticed is with COVID, obviously students aren't required to report a positive test result to the university, but that leaves a lot of us in the dark about, like, you know, is it really safe for me to be on campus? Like, I work in a hospital, so I've avoided coming to campus at all costs because I don't actually know how many people are sick. So a president that's really gonna look out for us and be transparent about here's what's going on and here's how it's gonna affect you and your lives in Mankato.
Yeah. So, Catherine, thank you for sharing your perspective, and what you raise is a complex issue because we have to manage information given to the students as you well need and deserve, as you have laid out, but at the same time we need to preserve the privacy of the individuals because a lot of the data is private. But what we have done is we have created a compromise, and that is we have now created a dashboard which is available on the website of Minnesota State University Mankato, where you can look at it, which will tell you without names how many students have reported, and so it's more information than before, though you may not know for specifically who these students are actually, and so that what happens there is from that data and information, MSc Mankato is very closely working with the local health authorities. And then if somebody is testing positive, then the health authority talks to them, and then they do what is called contact tracing. And if a student has come into contact with them, then they hear from the health authorities, because under the law, they have the ability to do that. So, but it's an important conversation, and your need for timely information and transparent information as much as possible. That point is very well taken and would be conveyed to the candidates. So thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is someone else talking?
No, you
Right.
Oh, I see.
I think there's one in the auditorium. Okay, I'll leave the floor to him first.
Okay, thank you, Yusuf.
My name is David Alimo. I'm going to school for business, and I am the senator of College of Business. I am a transfer student. I transferred here last year, and my time here so far has been really good. Everybody here is very friendly, and it's a diverse community. And like I said, you know, everybody's willing to help you out. But one of my questions that I have and that I want the next president would be, I just want to know how he is going to be able to help students that will be coming here next year to have a wonderful time and a good experience on campus with the whole COVID situation. I just want to know how he will be able to improve that situation. And another thing that I am kind of concerned about is, as you know, we are under a pandemic, and a lot of students aren't able to have the opportunities they are seeking while they are attending college. I just want to know how he's going to help students after graduations as well, because that is a big concern for students as of right now. And you know, we are the students of the future, and I feel as if that's something that should be implemented when he is hired.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. As we started with dealing with the pandemic, we just had two major overriding objectives. One was safety and health of our faculty, staff, and students. And second was putting in place measures which will help our students move through their educational journey and minimize the disruption to their educational progress. And I think whichever leader we hire, they would have to assess the situation. We would lay out for them what has happened on campus, what policies and procedures have been put in place, how we are dealing with it. So on an ongoing basis, the president works with the team, which is already in place, which is working through that. And there'll be a transitional element too, where some people are focusing on the transition as the current president goes into retirement and new president comes in. And we make sure that they have all the information so that they can make the decisions with the interests of the students and the university in mind. But thank you for sharing that and dealing with the COVID situation and helping our students navigate this difficult terrain because of COVID would be one message which we would be conveying to the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yusuf.
Yes, hello, my name is Yusuf Al-Sadi. I was born and raised in Lebanon, but with Palestinian origins. I am majoring in political science and international relations. I represent currently the SBS, Social and Behavioral Studies Department, alongside with Senator Ibarra. The journey at MSU has been phenomenal, to say the least. I was the president of my floor in the dorms, which was an amazing year of my life, where I got to meet people from all over the states and the world. MSU had definitely gave me a home away from home, and it just gave me a sense of belonging and, like, you know, a part of the community and a part of the team. And taking into consideration that this is my last year here, next semester, hopefully I'm aiming to graduate. I'd be very honestly devastated to leave this place. But I mean, of course, I have to eventually. Just my expectations for the next president would be like how he would monopolize the double-edged sword that we currently have, which is like Zooming, and like how well would he respond to this worldwide app that everybody's using currently, and like the things that he would do using Zoom, like considering events, considering classes, considering all those things.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you, Yusuf, for sharing your concern. And you're very right that this is a very different environment and very different circumstances. Whomever we hire, she or he would have to come in, and I'm sure they would be exposed to this environment, no matter where we hire them from. This environment is not limited to Minnesota itself, and they would have that facility because across the nation, across the world, everybody is working in remote environment, and many institutions are working in hybrid environment in terms of their educational delivery. But you're right, your basic point is right on, that as we assess the leadership qualities of our candidates and our finalists, we have to keep in mind how do they handle emergencies and crises, and how do they handle remote environments, and how do they maintain their student focus and continue and enable the students to continue on their educational journey. That would be important. So thank you for that.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chancellor. I'm Radit Mahmood.
Good evening.
I'm Radit Mahmood. I'm an international student from Bangladesh. I'm the off-campus senator for 88th Student Government. And I would like to say that I came to Minnesota State last year in 2019, and so far this has been an amazing journey. The first few months were a little hectic for sure because I was an international student and I kind of felt out of the room. I just kind of felt like I was not belonging in here. But MSU has been amazing so far, and it has been really welcoming. The school is super diverse, and the people are very welcoming, the school, the staff, the president himself. I had a chance to meet him in person once, so I'd really say that he's a very nice person, and like it was amazing to meet him. So my expectation from the next president would be someone who is open to diversity, that will be welcoming to all race, color, religion, without any political or racial profiling. I'd like to say that MSU so far has done like amazing job with this, like the school inside and outside. Let it be student government, let it be student unions, let it be jobs in the places. There are like diversity, and there are like people of all race and color. And despite whatever is going on today in the United States with the Black Lives Matter movement, the school has been away from it, and the school had really supported it. And everyone, even during the pandemic, like everything got like really well, and we have taken out our solutions and like situations, and everybody handled it pretty well. So I would expect the next president to be the same and make it a little bit better, and make it like more involvement with the students and everything. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And as I've been listening to these testimonies and this feedback and advice, it is somewhat emotional for me, because I also came to this country as an international student. Though long time ago, when I don't think any one of our student leaders was born as yet, but I fully understand the need for acceptance, and I fully understand what the international students bring to the university community. It is true they get a lot of acceptance and a lot of facilitation and a lot of support from the university community, but international students add to that vibrancy too. And your focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and creating an anti-racist ethos and dealing with systemic racism is right on, because I think that is the message I've heard all through the day today, and our the positioning of this university and how we support our students through the educational journey, both inside and outside the classroom, will have to focus on that inclusive excellence, but also inclusive anti-racist ethos. And so thank you for sharing with that. And that would be part and parcel of our discussion with the potential candidates.
Hi there. Thank you so much for answering, for coming today, Chancellor Malhotra. My name is Ryan Wolford. I'm a political science major here at MSU. I'm also the Legislative Affairs Coordinator and Senator for Residential Life. I sit on the Advisory Search Committee currently to find our university's next Director of Accessibility Resources. And my hope really for the next president is that they accommodate students with disabilities, attendance, specifically during the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that I have spoken to many students with disabilities that express anxiety, not for the fall semester, but for the upcoming spring and possibly subsequent fall semester, because the COVID-19 pandemic isn't expected to go away anytime soon with a vaccine in sight. So I just want to ensure that there will be attendance accommodations for students with disabilities. I know that before the COVID-19 pandemic, if you were gone from class, you weren't counted there often, as even with a disability. And many professors don't like teaching online these days. So I just want to ensure that there's accessibility for students with disabilities even beyond the fall semester.
Thank you. You raise a very, very important point, and we will not be doing our job if we don't try our hardest and the very best in accommodating all our students, including students with disabilities. So, but thank you for putting that message up front and center. It's an important one. We should inform our work.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
all right.
Please.
All right. Good evening, Chancellor Malhotra. Thank you so much for visiting with us. My name is Ian Suna. I'm currently a senior here, majoring in computer health informatics, and I'm one of the 3 senators for College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. A lot of my talking points have already been mentioned and touched on today, so I'll revamp what my statement was going to be. As I was searching for universities to attend right before graduating from high school, I was originally planning on going to the University of North Dakota. Up until I had the opportunity to come and visit our campus, meet with some of the faculty here, meet with some advisors, get to meet other students that were here as well. And I really loved the fact that I was looking all around me and seeing other people like myself. But not only like myself, but all other kinds of individuals as well. And I was taken aback by how welcoming and how loving everybody was. And I can say the same thing. I've had the same influences all throughout my time at MSU so far. And you said it, and from the general consensus here, one of the biggest topics today has been a sense of belonging and make sure people feel at home at our university. With the current situation and the way that things are, a lot of people are feeling a lot of unrest. A lot of people felt really confused. Some felt like they should have just stayed at home. I had a conversation with a student who shared with me that had it not been for how much our university and the president strives for us to have a sense of belonging and feeling at home, had it not been for that, that student would have left the university. And I won't go into it too much, but I think really one of the biggest things that we would love to look for in the next president of our institution would be somebody who, and I understand no human is perfect. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, not necessarily looking for somebody to improve the situation. If it could get even better, that's amazing. But a person who would at least sustain that sense that we have here and the love that students have developed for this university. I have unlocked I've learned so many different things about myself during my time here and made so many amazing connections and relationships with all the wonderful people who are, as I said, so welcoming to each other and looking to work together. And if that would be something that, if that isn't something to look for in the next president or leader of our institution, then I think everything else has been said up to this point. And I won't talk too much, but that would be my little touch.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And to your question, definitely, we would look for not only a strong leader, but also a leader who has a generous heart and has an empathetic listening skills and understands what you referred to, that why sense of belonging is important for each and every student. Each and every student should feel comfortable, should feel safe, should feel included, should feel empowered as they carry their educational journey, and those traits are very, very important in the next leader. And I'm also encouraged by the fact that you have made a shown tremendous discretion and judgment in choosing MSc Mankato over University of North Dakota. And I think other students should also get the word out that there are universities, 6 other ones, along with MSc Mankato, who can provide exceptional, affordable education. And I'm biased a little bit. I'm sure University of North Dakota is a very good university, but we can provide affordable, exceptional education with much more welcoming, inclusive, anti-racist ethos.
We have a student raising her hand. Afnan, feel free to join the conversation.
Please.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you Chancellor Malhotra for listening to us. And so my name is Afnan Hussain, and I am also a CSET senator, so College of Science, Engineering and Technology, and I come from India, but I was born and raised in the Middle East. Oh, and my major is computer science. So from what I've experienced in MSU is, as everyone has said, very welcoming environment and a very diverse community and stuff. But one of my favorite parts of my college memories is the fact that I got to meet the president on 2 different occasions, and not a lot of people can say that. And I really love that fact that our president liked to integrate himself into the community, and that, he was so willing to meet up with students and stuff. And so one of the things that I would suggest looking for is a president who's very willing to integrate himself, and obviously not in the time of COVID because that wouldn't make any sense, but hopefully when we find the vaccine for this and get over this whole pandemic, then he would be willing to integrate himself into the community as best as he can.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your optimism. Let's find that vaccine sooner than later, and let's get back to our normal lives. But I think your point is very well taken. What I'm gleaning from your comments is that, and it's important, and I've heard this all day long, that we want a president who's student-centered, student-focused, but also accessible to students, who establishes direct relationship with the students. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello, Chancellor. Thank you for speaking with us. My name is Rihanna Stiff. I am a junior double majoring in political science and mass media, and I am also the student affairs coordinator and one of the at-large senators for student government. I think my feedback kind of centers around the representation I've been looking for throughout my whole educational career. Growing up, I didn't see much representation for people that looked like me, whether that be women in, education or African Americans or other, people of color. And so I was happy to come to Minnesota State and see a lot of peers that looked like me. But something I think I will be looking for in the next president is someone who has been trained, has an extensive training on diversity, as everyone else has said, but also someone who is very diligent about hiring people who look like the students that they are teaching. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in the next president, and someone who is diligent about the representation and diligent about making sure they're inclusive in their hiring practices as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, when we use the term inclusion, that includes hiring too. And you're absolutely right that we need to diversify our workforce, our faculty, our staff, and they should look like the student demographics which are emerging. So thank you for sharing that. And again, it's important that the new president recognizes that anchor in equity, diversity, and inclusion is an important part of leading the university. Please go ahead. Go ahead. I saw a hand up. Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm Max Mayleben. I'm a business major here at MSU, and I'm also the editor-in-chief of the campus newspaper, The Reporter.
I have to be careful now what I say.
Exactly. Listening closely, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm talking to a journalist.
Right. I'm writing down quickly.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for coming and listening to student concerns, obviously. Personally, I'd like to bring up the idea of having the next president have an emphasis on bettering our graduation rates, as well as reducing our transfer out rates, having those people who start here stay here, and also making an emphasis on having a 4-year graduation for most of our students as well. I think that would be very beneficial to the campus community.
Sure. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Maxwell. And I think one of our enduring value, both at the university level as well as the system level and across the system, is enhancing access. But that doesn't mean just bringing students in. Once we bring students in, we have to provide the needed support structures, the needed academic support, so that they are able to maximize the chances of their success. And if we don't do that, then we have failed in our mission, in our goals, and most importantly, we have not done right by our students. So it is our professional obligation that we create an environment in which our students have the highest chance of success.
Thank you. Kara, you've had your hand raised for some time. Let's have you join the conversation.
Hello, my name is Kara Seversal. I'm the speaker for student government, and I'm a social work major. One thing that I would really like to see the next president value is the student voice, and making sure that at every table where decisions about students are being made, that students are being represented and students have an opportunity to speak. That's one thing that as we've risen to student leadership roles, we've really just seen the value of that and the importance of that. And so I want a president, I want her to value students and value their voices while making decisions.
Agreed. We won't have it any other way. I think student voice is very important. We are coming to the end, but I'm having so much fun. I'm willing to listen to somebody else too. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Anissa Omar. I'm currently a senior here, finishing up my last semester, majoring in political science. I was the former student body president here. One thing that I would like to touch on that Senator Rihanna Stiff touched on is ensuring that not only do we have a diverse faculty, but also our cabinet. Looking at it now, it's very white, and their experiences do not relate to the experiences of many students of color. And so for the consultants that are here, what exactly are we doing to ensure that we are gathering up a group of diverse individuals? What are we putting out there in the job description and all of that to attract individuals from diverse backgrounds to help lead students of color here? Because it's amazing to have diverse students, but it's very sad seeing cabinets and administrators not reflect the student body that we have.
And it's a great question, and I would let our search consultants answer that how we go about in our efforts to diversify our applicant pool.
Yes, I can take that. This is Lauren McCarran. We are very proud that 57% of our placements are females or persons of color. We have a very long history of placements in that area, and we have a very large network across the nation of persons who have strong background in that area. So that's definitely a priority that we'll be using moving forward, and we appreciate your comments.
Somebody else had their hand up. I can take that. I want to be respectful of time, but also don't want to lose an opportunity. Please, go ahead.
Margarita, you have your hand raised.
Yes, hi, Chancellor. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to us. You wanted to hear a little bit more about why we chose MSU as our university. And I'm going to be completely honest with you and tell you that I actually accepted to go to this university without touring or without doing any real background knowledge on the university. My hometown is Nicollet, Minnesota, which is about 15, 20 minutes away from here. And I chose this university because it was close to my community. A lot of the staff that I knew from Nicollet was also doing some work here at MSU. And so that's why I felt comfortable to come here. But I had challenges because I am a first generation Mexican American, daughter of Mexican immigrants. And I did not have the support that I had. I didn't have the support in high school to help me figure out where to go for my university. When I did get here, though, I was fortunate enough to be connected with the Multicultural Center, the director of Latinx Affairs at that time, Jesse Mancilla. And because of the strong community in the Multicultural Center, it made me feel at home and made me feel like this was my community and that I could be here and make something of myself. So I wanted to reinforce that whoever is the next president, he, she, they, would be supportive of students, first generation students that don't have access to resources like everyone else, so that they can feel comfortable in making their choices for this university, to be the one that they will be, studying at. So that's my take on it.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing your personal journey, but more importantly, thank you for helping us understand what it would take to support first generation diverse students. So thank you very, very much for sharing that, and rest assured that as we talk to potential candidates, we would work that into our conversations as to, again, taking a broader lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and not only race and ethnicity, but also family income, first generation status, and make sure that we are providing appropriate supportive structures so that every student has a chance to succeed. So thank you for sharing your comments. I want to be respectful. We are about 5 minutes over, but I want to assure you that this is beginning of the conversation, not the end, and that this is a long process, and all through the search process, I would urge you and your fellow students who are not on the student government, I would urge everybody, all students, to stay engaged in the process, continue to provide feedback and input to us. You can send that input either individually or collectively, whichever way you deem fit. And all you have to do is send it to either Steve Barrett or to Sherry Sargent, and or give it to your advisor or whoever, and they will be able to forward that feedback and input to Steve and Sherry, and they'll forward it to us. And Again, thank you, everybody. It was a delight to talk to you. This was the best session, Zoom session of my last 1 month. So you made my day, my week, and probably my month. And thank you for sharing. And it's great to listen to all of you. And it's great to hear these stories. But more importantly, it's great to hear stories about your resilience, your resolve, and your determination to finish this journey you have embarked upon, and not only to brighten your future, but brighten the future of the communities and the nations in which you will decide to reside and work. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Chancellor. To wrap things up, going back to the providing more input, Sherry posted in the chat for this meeting a link, a Qualtrics survey where you can submit additional input electronically. We'll be sending that link out campus-wide in the very near future, so people who may not have been able to attend any of these listening sessions will be able to provide their input. And you can certainly contact myself or Sherry Sargent to pass along any input to the Chancellor's office. Secondly, there will be student involvement in the Search Advisory Committee. And so we'll be getting nominations from students. Word will get out, communications will get out, so stay tuned for that. The advisory committee will be starting to meet in November, and that's when things really start cooking for this president's search. So be watchful for those communications. Thank you for all your input today. Great conversation. And speaking personally as a staff member of the university, I've been here 3.5 years. It is highly gratifying to me to see the engagement and interest of our students, not only in this president's search, but in day-to-day campus life that I see. And it's noticed, it's appreciated, and we thank you for that. With that, let us know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great week. We'll stay engaged throughout this process. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you. You are great student leaders, and I wish you the very best.
Wonderful. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. And we'll uphold the mission.
And will uphold the mission,
Constitution and bylaws
Constitution and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name.
I, Patrick.
Senator Bigd. Senator Bigd. Senator Gustafson.
Here.
Senator Gabbard. Senator Vondra.
Here.
Senator Alimo. Senator Mendonça. Senator Parte.
Here.
Senator Salim. Senator Nemo.
Here.
Senator Hussain.
Here.
Senator Khan. Senator Suna. Senator El-Sadi.
Here.
Senator Obera.
Here.
Senator Osman.
Here.
Senator Stiff. Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Weinzierl. Senator Wickman.
Here.
Senator Ruiz.
Here.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Roddick. Senator Bejarano.
Here.
Senator Swancutt. Senator Flynn. Senator Walford.
Here.
President Trenny. Vice President Maltari. Speaker Seversal. Awesome. Okay, so moving past roll call, we have no presentations today. So we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for open forum. Is there anybody here for open forum? Mr.
Yeah.
Constantine? All right. Yeah, if you're online, if you could use the raise your hand function, that way I can make sure.
Trying to. I am trying to.
Hello, folks. Is that on? I'll make this quick. I just want to let you know that starting tomorrow, we'll have our first Student Allocations Committee meeting. It's nice that we finally got a group, a nucleus enough to start up, and hopefully we'll maybe get a couple more later on, but we didn't want to wait any longer for that. The Student Union Board will start next week, Thursday. We've got a nice group of people there, too. And then I did want to let folks know, I talked to you last week or the week before about maybe the hours of the CSU being modified a little bit, and we did move in that direction. I think I copied Andrew and Arnavi on that email that I sent out. So starting on Monday, October 5th, we'll be closing it from Sunday through Thursday at 10 a.m. and then on Friday and Saturday at not 10 a.m., 10 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday at 11 p.m. overall. Last thing I have to say is if anybody lost an earring, I found an earring on the floor when I came in. It's not mine. My holes have already closed up a little bit. So, any questions for me?
Are there any questions?
Just a quick question. When in the beginning of the Thanksgiving, because I know that the classes are going to turn online. Do you know the hours of the CSU, or is it just going to be from there and on? It's going to close at 10 p.m.
It's a good question. We haven't made any determination for that Thanksgiving time period as the university goes totally online yet. We'll be looking at that and making some announcements at a later time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Vice President Johnson?
Hello again. Thanks for having me. Real quick one. Reminder, esports launch Friday. Be live broadcast and in person, 1 o'clock, and the broadcast starts at 1:30. So please keep that in mind. The second is I want to introduce, so we're wrapping the month up with esports and we're kicking next month off with cybersecurity. So I brought Mike Minnie, the Chief Information Security Officer, with me, and he's going to talk to you really quickly about Cybersecurity Month.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Mike Minnie, as Mark said. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for MSU. I am responsible for all of your digital data to make sure that we're keeping it safe and make sure making sure we're being responsible with it. I've been with the university for 12 years and I have about 28 years of experience in technology professionally. So as Mark said, we're kicking off October with National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. National Cybersecurity Awareness Month is a joint collaboration between the Department of Homeland Security and National Cybersecurity Alliance. We've participated in the last 3 or 4 years as a way to promote cybersecurity across our campus. There are things that we focus on that we just want to focus on things that you can do in your everyday life. There's an entire world of cybersecurity of which I'm a part of. I have a certification, but we want to raise the awareness of things you can do every day. In 2019, the Federal Trade Commission reported that there were 1.7 million reports of fraud to them. That would be just a small fraction of the fraud that actually occurs. My own credit cards have been hacked twice this year, and I've had to have them replaced. So far in 2020, Twitter, Nintendo, and Marriott have all had major data breaches. And just 2 days ago, I saw a news report of a ransomware attack that attacked one of the largest health providers in the United States. They ended up having to shut down all of their computer systems because of it. You know, and educational institutions are not immune. We experience security attacks daily. I manage a team of 6 students, 3 of them are on the cybersecurity team, and 3 of them are on the asset management team, tracking all the computers and data assets. So we see this stuff every day. Because of COVID, we're not blocking as many things on campus, but so we blocked about 20,000 requests for malicious domain names just in September. So that www. whatever URL is called a domain name. We blocked 20,000 of those in September. By comparison, in September 2019, when we didn't have COVID, we blocked over 100,000 requests for those. And those are things that we do in the background. You don't have to do anything about those. Those are things that we do. That's what we focus on in the background. So given all this, how can you protect yourself? Well, that's what Cybersecurity Awareness Month is all about. Our tag for the month is Be Cyber Aware. And we're going to focus primarily on 4 topics. Passwords. How do you use passwords? How do you protect your passwords? What do you do to protect your online accounts? Your passwords are everything. Phishing. What does a phishing email look like? How do I know if it's phishing? What do you do about it? Patching. Make sure your computers are up to date. Make sure your devices are up to date. Computer software develops holes just like old rusty cars. The difference between rusty cars and computer patches is computer patches are free. Vendors find the holes, they patch them, and they publish the patches all the time. So make sure you're patching those devices. And then protect your devices. Make sure you keep track and know where your devices are at all times. Make sure you know where your smartphone is, especially. When I'm at home, I use my smartphone more than I use my computers. So my smartphone has as much or more data about me and about my life than my computer does. So there's 2 things that you can do right now. 2 things that you can do in the month, and then 3 things you can do in the month of October. So first is just be cyber aware. Follow our website, follow our emails, follow our social media accounts for IT solutions, and watch for those updates as we publish them throughout the month. And then the number one thing you can do right now, the number one thing that's going to help you protect your email account, especially in everything in Office 365, is enable what's called multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication allows you to put a second verification on your account that nobody else has. It's a code on your phone, it's a text message to your phone, it's a notification on your phone that says, hey, are you the one really trying to log in? That's real easy. I have it on mine. I've had it for months and years. We enabled all staff over the summer, so most of our staff have this on their accounts to protect their accounts. Microsoft's reports say it blocks 99.9% of account password hacks. Where else can you find a protection that protects you 99.9% of the time? The easiest way to do that is to go to mnsu.edu/multi-factor, and that'll get you to the instruction page on how to enable that for your different devices and accounts. And then later in October, this is one I'm really excited about. On Wednesday, October 28th, we're going to host a webinar. We're going to invite a panel of former MSU students, so MSU alumni, that now work in the cybersecurity industry to join us and talk about cybersecurity awareness. So before I take off and before I leave you into the rest of your meeting, does anybody have any questions?
Are there any questions?
And we can both take questions for anything you want to.
Any questions?
I do. I raised my hand. Sorry. I just wanted to know where we can find this information regarding the events and stuff.
We'll put a link in the chat right away. So both the link he just talked about and any other links related to Cybersecurity Week, we'll put in the chat, and then we'll also send you an email to the Student Senate leadership and make sure you get a copy of it.
Senator Walford?
Yeah, I was just following up. The multi-factor authentication website would be useful to put in there. I appreciate that.
Yep, we'll do both. Mike, you'll do both of those, right?
Wonderful, thank you. Next on the speakers list, I have Dean Janey.
Hello, President Trenny and Speaker Sversel and Senators, thanks for giving me a few minutes to speak with you about residence hall internet problems. I love to come and talk with you when things are going well, and it's not fun to need to share about things that aren't going well, but it's critically important. The internet is like water, and it's just critical to students. We've had some reports from students, a number of reports of service disruptions. So let me tell you what some of the things that are going on and our efforts to address that. We have a new internet service provider, and the company's name is Apogee. They've been incredibly successful on many campuses, and so we are looking forward to getting fully implemented with them. In talking with them about our disruptions, they are sending someone tonight from 8 to midnight to do some assessment of the situation. One of the things that they have reported to us is that we have over 500 routers on the system. Routers are really important for home internet, but they really mess up the kind of institutional internet that we have here. They cause a lot of disruption, and it doesn't even have to be just the people next door. And so we are working to quantify this router disruption and then to identify where the routers are and get them off the network so that the network can work more smoothly. So we have several steps in place, and if we need to, we'll work with students and go from room to room to identify routers and ask students to take them off. We have sent a message out to all residence hall students making this request. I'm not sure how much students are going to want to comply with that initially, because it may not make sense to them, because if what you understand is home internet, you need a router there. But routers actually disrupt the service here on campus. We've also asked Apogee to bring their implementation team back to campus. We've asked them to bring handheld devices that can detect routers so they can walk down the hall and identify where they are, and we can work with them to knock on doors and approach students to get those off the system. So I will pause there, and I'm available for questions if that's something that Speaker Seversal, that is okay with you.
Yes, are there any questions? Senator Flynn.
So a couple questions about the finer details of what's going on. The routers that students have installed, is it interfering on the wireless half or the wired half?
You've already exceeded my internet knowledge. If if Mark Johnson or Brian Schneider have that specific knowledge, I would welcome them to join the conversation and assist in responding.
Sure, this is Brian Schneider, and it can affect both sides, both the wired and the wireless side.
I think a way to think about it is there's already routers there, and those routers are conflicting with the routers that are there. So that's probably a better way of thinking of it. It's not exactly correct, but that's the concept. And so whenever we have one thing and it's trying to do the same as another thing, they conflict with each other. So that's what we're trying to help with, is let's get the routers that we have already put in place, let those do the work they need to do, and take the ones that we don't need working and have them stop working and stop conflicting. And so I think that's what we're really trying to do, is make it a much better service. If I understand Apogee's methodology, which I think I do.
To drill down a little more into it, has there been any thought given into perhaps shutting off the wireless broadcasting of some of the routers to help mitigate that? Because from any given point in the dorms, at least from my laptop, I could pick up something like 22 access points, and that creates a lot of wireless noise. Is that part of the problem, perhaps?
I can't address that, but I guess let me tell you a next step, and then Brian and Mark can comment if this next step may address your concern. So we had hoped to have all these components completed prior to the start of the semester, but as COVID disrupted a number of things, it also slowed down our process for getting our contract in place with this provider, which slowed down our transition. So an element that we don't have in place yet is student registration of themselves and of their devices to use the network. That element's coming. We're going to work with Apogee to do a pre-registration process. And I think that process is going to address some of what you're talking about. Brian and/or Mark, can you comment on that?
I think the answer is really straightforward, and that is yes. Every router that's there that shouldn't be there is conflicting with what the traffic that we want to have happening. So yes, every router you can see that shouldn't be there should be shut down. And I think Cindy did mention very specifically that the vendor is coming in with a detector, going to find those routers and help us make this network work. And so we're partnering with Cindy and the ResLife folks, and we're going to try to help them get it back to the way it was designed to work.
I think my point might have been misunderstood a little bit. These are the res hall internet that I can see 20 plus of from any given point. And they're perhaps interfering with each other.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody here can troubleshoot this network. That's where we're bringing technicians from other places to work on. I don't know that I'm not sure that you may be right, but I wouldn't have any way. I don't think any of us would have any way to know that. So I think what we'll do is let the experts sort through their network and make sure they have on the network what needs to be there and remove what needs to not be there and try to get it stabilized. That's our goal.
And one more thing. When they eventually green light this registration of student devices, what would the device cap be? And would there be any means for going beyond this device cap? Because that is the primary reason that a lot of students do use a router here, is because they previously exceeded the device limits put in place by Spectrum, which was like 12. Speaking personally, I have something like 25 devices, and yeah, I don't really need them all to have public addresses like that.
Brian, can you comment on the how the device management works with Apogee?
Yeah, when we talked to them before, the limit was 8, but we'll talk to them before implementation to find out how they can accommodate power users like you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? President Trenny.
It's not a question, more of a comment. Thank you, Dean Janey, for not only working with the residence hall students on how to fix this issue, but also including student government leadership in what you're sending to on-campus students and what you're telling your residents, so we can also be helpful in that front. So I thank you for being not only transparent but very communicative to not only me, but my coordinators and Arnavi as well. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for all the hard work you do.
Sure. Well, student representation is critical. And so I appreciate having a good connection with both student government and with the Residence Hall Association because the feedback is critical to how we do our work. We did assess with, we assessed with Apogee how many service calls they have had. And they had only 46 service calls from Residence Hall students from September 1st to 28. And only 31 of those were about the network. So from the point of view of Apogee, maybe one Residence Hall student a day had a problem. And so we've been communicating to Residence Hall students, we need you to call into Apogee or text. They've got 3 methods for getting in touch to report when you're having problems. That's the only way they'll know about it. But in the meantime, I and my staff and IT are working a full court press to try to get this thing resolved.
Wonderful. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Senator El-Sadi.
Yes, I just wanted to add that I am a Residential Life employee, and I had the chance to work with Apogee closely because I was the one having them get into the access points and to the dorm rooms and to the residential halls. And I know that they are a company that is established, I think, in Texas or like a different state other than Minnesota. And you said that you're working on registration for Apogee on MNSU. When do you think this will happen? Because you just mentioned like that Wi-Fi is now like internet, especially with everything now being on Zoom and like, so like when do you think this will happen and like Apogee will be working from MNSU, not just like getting people from like different states?
Youssef, thanks for your work to work with Apogee and to go into student rooms. I'm sorry about your hand injury that made you be available to do that, and I hope it's better now. I don't have a timeline because there are several pieces in the process, and we need to make sure that those pieces are going to work well. We tried to switch over to Apogee's circuit and then had a problem when that circuit was cut, probably with a construction issue. And so we need to get that thing solved before we are able to proceed with the device registration. We're going to work on a pre-registration process so that students have the chance to get all their information in ahead of time to minimize disruption to any given student. And we will communicate about that in advance.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure, thank you too, Youssef.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Senator Walford.
Senator Walford.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time. And I'm a residential life senator as well as the legislative affairs coordinator here at student government. And I just kind of wanted to bring a student perspective from Stadium Heights residents community, where I'm pretty involved with a lot of different of the buildings. So I get a lot of the student perspectives. And I've heard from about 15 different people. Unfortunately, it seems they didn't report to Apogee, but they have talked to me about their service disruptions and how it has affected them. Many of them have to deal with situations in academics such as lockdown browsers. And in these situations, these service disruptions have caused their lockdown browser exams to actually cease out, and then they had to work with their professors on one-to-one basis to sort that out. So I know these service disruptions have been pretty critical to a lot of academic students.
Yes.
And I guess my question is, I was in RHA last year, and I remember one meeting where you did come and informed us that there was deliberation to change over from Spectrum to a new company. It wasn't announced at the time.
Mm-hmm.
How did Residential Life, without really informing Res Life RHA, come to the determination to use a Texas-based company such as Apogee?
Oh, we used a process called a request for proposals and asked for companies to respond to a variety of criteria, and then did a serious vetting of the written responses and then interviews. Somewhere in there, COVID happened, and I don't remember quite where. Chaos ensued as we sent students home, and as we then continued to try to work on the Apogee process and a number of other processes that we had in place. So Ryan, I can't pull up for you a specific timeline, but COVID goofed up our student interaction in quite a few ways. One of them being that we weren't able to get a Residence Hall Association exec board elected last spring, which then helps us through the summer because we at least have those folks in place to consult with. So I do acknowledge that the student consultation did not meet our standard, and I apologize for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you, Dean Janey.
Yeah, thank you so much, senators, for your important work in representing students. I really appreciate it. I welcome emails, and on-campus senators, if you've not received an invitation to join the Residence Hall Association meeting on Mondays, you will be receiving that invitation. And so would be great to see you there when you're available. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next on the speakers list, I have Martin J. Caruso.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Martin Jack Russo, and I work with Maverick Adventures Outdoor Programs. And I've spoken a couple times here before, but I just wanted to give a quick update on what's going on with Maverick Adventures Outdoor Programs this semester so far. So we have started, our student committee has started meeting, and we're looking forward to some great things coming out of that. I do want to say that we would still love to have a senator involved with our student committee. So if you have any interest in being a part of what we're doing in Maverick Adventures, please feel free to contact me or Sam Steiger. Some things we've been doing so far this semester, we have had 2 programs so far. We had a hammock and slackline program, and that was pretty successful. We had several students as well as some staff come out to that program. We also held a hike in Rasmussen Woods last week, and that was also a success. This coming weekend, we are offering 2 programs. This Friday, we are offering a fall bike workshop and group ride in Friday afternoon. Bikes are available for loan. And on Saturday, we are going to be hosting a bike ride out to the Rapidan Dam and back. Registration is open for both of those programs, and we're looking forward to some successful programs this weekend. I'm going to leave the link for registration in the chat. But thank you so much, and I'll be back with more updates in a couple weeks.
Wonderful. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Is there anybody else here for open forum today? Max.
Hi, everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm Max with the MSU Reporter. I just wanted to put it out there that if anybody has any stories, any senators or anybody has any stories they want covered or it would be interesting to cover, feel free to reach out to me. Come by the office, swing in, let me know, and I'm more than willing to hear you out and potentially write a story about it.
Wonderful. Are there any questions for Max? No? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anybody else here for open forum? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. So next on our agenda, we're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Is there any dissent to the approval of the consent agenda? Any dissent? Any dissent? Okay, seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. Next, we're going to move on to officer reports. President Trenny.
Ooh, okay. Sorry, I don't have that much, but I always say that, and it always turns into a long list. So my first thing I would like to update the Senate on is on Tuesday, I had the opportunity to attend a system-wide meeting with all the university presidents and most of the student body presidents from across the system, the 7 schools. And we really spoke to the university presidents about, our letter to them about being consulted, COVID, across the system. How as a system can we ensure students are being put first in decision making, or in their thought process when they decide things. We also talked a lot about Students United's pandemic platform, as well as what can we do next semester as a system to be student focused and student mindful. So we had a really good conversation. It was probably an hour and a half. So I enjoyed that with them as well. The other thing we're working on, or rather I'm working on, is I'm currently proposing a new university policy. Stay tuned for that, but basically the intent is because we are transitioning university leadership, we want to guarantee some of our protections and rights we've secured in the last 19 years with President Downport. So that's things of being consulted on things that normally we don't get an opportunity to. So I'm currently drafting that as well. And we still are working, our Vice President Multari and I are still working on the course fee. We're kind of in the final stages, I think, of our talks with the administration on what a committee would look like for our course fee and online differential approval. And then we are currently as well continuing our push on the mental health thing that we passed last week. We are really seeing a lot of work on that and a lot of agreement by the university on some things. So stay tuned on those updates. I would just say it's been very productive, so I appreciate all the work you guys do. Our university does see all our students and how actively engaged we are, even during COVID. So please keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys are doing amazing work. We've probably been the most active student government in the past couple of years. John might say different, but hopefully he agrees. I'd also like to note, as the speaker said earlier, thank you for being very active with the chancellor today. I was at the earlier one from 11 to noon. There was only 5 students and I was one of them. So to see over 30 students actually talking and putting their thoughts into it is really nice to see. And I think they as in the chancellor and the other people on the search committee will be appreciative to have heard your feedback. We will send out the Qualtrics survey link that they put in chat to everyone. Again, please take the time to fill that out as well. Even if you spoke, having your thoughts down more in depth, I think there's like specific questions on there. So putting your thoughts on paper in that survey will also be just as good as speaking here at the open forum that we did with the chancellor. And so with that, I yield.
Are there any questions for President Trenny? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, Vice President Maltari.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. If you guys are not up yet. For my officer report, I got a chance to meet with the ISA leadership, and we discussed about their current projects and how can student government help them. So they are currently working on projects like advising and a tutoring program. They still need people to work on developing it, and they might be coming to one of our meetings to talk about it, and they just need inputs from you guys as well. So whenever they would be attending the meetings, we would love an input. ISA has also been working on increasing the internship programs for the international students, and I have guided them to some people from student government, and I'll send them an email shortly about it. Other than this, along with President Trenny, I have been working for the mental health initiative, and ISA does want to endorse it. So once it is done, they are going to endorse it and send out an email to international students. Other than another thing is I serve on President's Commission on Status of Women, and Women's Center is looking for some people to have an input on their subcommittees. If you guys are interested, feel free to reach out to me, and I can set you up with the person who's their GA. And last thing is me and along with other executives, we have been doing check-ins with the senators. If you haven't signed up, please sign up. And with that, I yield.
Wonderful. Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go into mine. So a few things. The officer report form on Engage is now live. So I know that I sent a reminder in the email yesterday, and it wasn't up yet, but it is up now. So make sure you have that filled in. Those are due at Friday at noon. If you have any questions about office hours or what counts or anything, just make sure you reach out to me. The next thing, I have an update on Swipe Out Hunger, which is a partnership program with student government. So we rolled out Swipe Out Hunger a few weeks ago and have since, as it's kind of spread by word of mouth, and then we were able to do a lot of promoting last week to various groups. We've seen a huge influx in applications, which is great because then that means that the students who need it are getting access to it and finding out about it. So we have had to make a couple changes, though, to accommodate the large increase in applications in order to make sure that this is a program that can continue to help students with temporary assistance throughout the whole year and not just the fall. We have made the decision to go ahead and, for the time being, reduce the amount of meals from 10 to 3. So that way that we can make sure that we're serving as many students as possible. So that has been a change that's been made for the time being. But this is due to the large increase in applications. So we continue to check in with those students and make sure that they're getting responses in a timely manner. But that's the change that we had to make for the time being. So that's on Swipe Out Hunger. And then last, I have our Dean of the Day. Our Dean of the Day is Dean Flannery. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Brenda Flannery, and I serve as the College of Business Dean. I believe the 2 College of Business senators are in Ostrander. So hello to David, and Manov. And I'm here today to, just send greetings from all the College of Business faculty and staff. They've been working hard, as all faculty and staff have been, to really doing new things with classes and to engaging students. We had our first College of Business Advisory Council meeting last Friday. And I'm really proud of all student leaders on campus because they've really been innovative in engaging students in their RSOs and in keeping things going that we've done in the past. So I just want to send greetings and really congratulate students for the amazing resilience and innovativeness and leadership that you're showing right now.
Thank you. Are there any questions for me or Dean Flannery? Senator Gabbard.
There we go. Okay. For Kara, it is for the Swipe Out Hunger program. If I am correct, you have to meet certain requirements to get that, if that's right. I know I saw the application and it said in there they would look into your financial aid and stuff. Is that?
No,
correct?
that's not correct.
Okay.
So Swipe Out Hunger advocates for a low barrier access program, which means that we're not asking students to prove that they're food insecure. We don't want to increase the stigma in that way.
Right.
What we are checking is making sure that you're a student. We're looking at the amount of times that you've applied. If you've applied more than once, we approach that on a case-by-case basis. And then we look to make sure that you don't already have a full meal plan.
Okay.
So those are the few things we're looking for. Just some more insight into the reason we reduced the number from 10 to 3 is because we partnered with Sodexo, who has set a finite amount of meals that we have to allocate for the whole year. So in order to make sure that we can continue to make this program sustainable, we're just making some adjustments. And so that's a little bit why we changed it. But no, it doesn't affect your financial aid or anything like that.
Okay. Okay, good enough. Thanks.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I raised my hand on Zoom.
Oh, thank you. Senator Walford.
Yep. So my question is in regard to Swipe Out Hunger as well. So with Sodexo, because it was a predetermined finite number of meals, two things. Was this deliberated, the amount of meals that would be set aside for Swipe Out Hunger, decided in advance, like last spring? And then if so, is there any way to increase that allotment? Because I know that the effectiveness of the program relies not only on the number of people that are able to have access to it, but the number of meals as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. So how it works is Sodexo works with Swipe Out Hunger, which is a nonprofit as well. And they have what's called like a pilot program with Sodexo, our dining services provider. And so Sodexo has, they started with like 11 or 13 schools last year, and then they've since bumped that number up. And so Mankato was able to get on the list of schools that were able to partner with Sodexo. So then how Sodexo runs it is that for every student that purchases a full meal plan, 2 meals are donated. So I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but that works between about 4,000 and 5,000 meals. So that at this point is something that we are unable to change as we're in this first initial pilot program. As we collect like research from the students and see the feedback, and over time look at how our first initial year as Swipe Out Hunger has gone, that's maybe something that can be negotiated. But right now, that was the set limit from the pilot program perspective. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? No? Seeing none, then we're going to go ahead and move on. So next up, we are going to move into senator reports, and we have Senator Walford.
Thank you so much, and hi again. I'm kind of sharing a dual role as the Senator for Residential Life and as your Legislative Affairs Coordinator. So in that kind of dual shared role, one of the things that I've been working on is partnering with an off-campus senator, Senator Wheeler, specifically with a concern he has in regard to apartment complexes and their accessibility to recycling services. He noticed a couple of different apartment complexes, including his own, that do not provide proper recycling services. So he partnered with me to see if we could research more into this. And so far I've emailed Councilmember Lavin, just because I researched our city ordinances. And there's a possibility that recycling is a city ordinance on the books for residential units, which encompasses the definition of apartment complexes. And he will be reaching out to the property managers in partnership with John Bulcock if that hasn't been done.
Are there any questions for Senator Wolford? John. I'm sorry, could you repeat? John's clarifying the name. His question was if it was Jack, and then they figured out it's Pat, so I think we're good. Are there any other questions? Seeing none? Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Senator Roddick.
Good evening, everyone. I will not make it very long because this has been pretty long, and I had a very long day. So I'll just start with my new project. I have spoken to some of my off-campus senators about this during the meeting, and I'll just describe this whole thing. I'm looking forward to ensure more security in the off-campus housings, focus on how to ensure security for students off-campus and make it easier for them to conduct their day-to-day activities. My main focus is to create more awareness against theft and vandalizing of property. We have heard a few incidents, and I think this is a way we can ensure safety for students. Let it be gun violence, substance abuse, or drunk fights, or even bike theft. Let it be anything. We have recently had a meeting among senators and came up with some issues we might be facing here. We don't want to be in any kind of mishap with apartment managers or accusing them of not doing their part. We are simply working to focus on how to make our off-campus housings better. The upcoming month, we plan on looking forward to meet the apartment managers and speak about our concerns and theirs as well. And once we get into the point where it is good to make a proposal, I shall let you all know. I spoke to Senator Jack Wheeler, Senator Rihanna, President Trene, Vice President Maltari, and John Bulcock yesterday, and we came up to a point that we will be approaching the apartment managers once we have everybody on board. So that will be like all the off-campus senators with all their projects. I will really appreciate the fact that if you all could come up with your ideas, if you have anything for working with the off-campus senators, with the off-campus housings, and we'll put them all in a board, and we'll have all our topics, all our agendas, everything, all our concerns together, and then maybe somewhere in the middle of next month, that is October, we'll go up to them and we'll approach them, and we will set up a meeting. We will make a team of senators, let it be 2, 1, whatever, and we'll approach them with our concerns and everything. Kat is here. Kat also, Senator Nelson. She's also on board because she spoke to Rihanna about this, and I think we all will be working on this together. I'll really encourage all of you to let me know if you guys have anything in plans. That'll be it for now, and from next week, I'll be starting with Mark for the CSU board, so I hope that goes well as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Roddick? Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Senator Hussain.
Hello. I am also going to keep mine short because my project it's a big one, but it's it's very small to explain. Anyways, so I am working on the CSET advising department, as a lot of you know already. I've conducted a bunch of interviews, around like 20 or something, and I've finally made like a list of what the main issues are regarding what like CSET advising, and like what students struggle with the most. And one of the biggest concerns that I've heard are that there are not enough like advisors per student. Like the students believe that the advisors don't have enough time for all the students that they have. And so what I'm planning on doing is talking to all the colleges and getting a advisor to student ratio, and then moving on from there. So my goal basically is to maybe reduce the ratio, and then also have hopefully this will happen. I'm thinking about having grad students get into like senior students, sorry, not grad students, senior undergraduates, be advisors for incoming freshmen, because that's how we do it in college anyways, where we just ask people older than us, or like more senior to us in our program about, advice. And so I'm trying to make that an actual job. So these are my goals and like a little bit of updates on what I've been working on. Yeah.
Wonderful. Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Senator Sain. Last, we have Senator Osman.
Hey guys, my name is Zahara and I am one of the at-large senator. For my report, I have a couple things that I could update you guys on. So this week I had a meeting with Professor Ferrero, and he is the chair department for the aviation. And we just kind of discussed the complaints that we've been hearing from my constituents in the aviation program. And one of them was why the aviation is under the College of Education and not under CSET or business, and what we can do about it to move it if we can. And he did agree with me that it's odd that we have the aviation in the College of Education. And the way he explained to me that how we ended up there is that when the professional flight students graduate, or once they get their certificate, they become flight instructors, and part of their job is to teach the new students how to fly. And that teaching part is what let them decide for the aviation to go under the College of Education. But we also talked about like the advantages and disadvantages of having it in the aviation. And we saw that there's not really any disadvantages of having it in and keeping it in the Department of Education. So I suggested that we send a survey to all the aviation students, and it will be like a two-part questions where we ask students if they are in favor of keeping if they are in favor of keeping the program under the College of Education. And if they say yes, then no further questions for them. But if they say no, then they'll have an option to click either on CSET or business, because I think it's important to have that data to present it if we're going to take this forward. So I will be sending that survey to him later tonight or tomorrow, and then we will meet again next week after we get the results. And then the second part, we talked about the issues with the aviation management students. They are required to take most of the aviation professional flight classes, and it's heavily on like aerodynamic and like about a pilot classes, which is not really benefiting those management students. And he did agree with me on that, and he said that we need to talk to the Aviation Accountability Board, because they are the one who oversees the curriculum, and they are the one who get to decide what classes we take and whatnot. So I will be reaching out to them next week. So that's what I have for my report this week.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I see one from Jennifer Veltzos.
Hi, Senator Osmond. A question about, or perhaps it's just a suggestion even. The question about where the program belongs. Have you talked with alumni from the program? I think that there's quite a few people who might be willing to share how their experience coming from a college of education might have impacted their careers, how being in those other two colleges might help or harm them, and give you a more broad perspective to inform your recommendations.
I only talked to one, my professor. Her name is Sherry. She's an alumni of this college, and she is suggesting that we should keep it under the College of Education because we have a good relationship with the dean, and we've been under the College of Education for so long that they are understanding our unique college program and the needs. And also because part of the aviation professional flight is that you become an instructor for a year to accumulate hours. So part of that, you teach the new students how to fly. But other than her, I don't have access to other alumni.
Perhaps
yeah.
I misunderstood. I just wanted to make sure that you were getting sufficient balanced information, because moving out of a college is a huge deal. And I didn't want you to be acting too quickly. Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that question, but we didn't have time at the meeting we had at 3 o'clock. But yeah, no, I just think that we should get that survey out just to keep those data and see like what the new students right now think about keeping it or not. It's not that something we could just change it right now. It's probably going to take a while too. Yeah, so it's just the first step for now.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Any others? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Senator Osmond. So next up on our agenda, we're going through vacancies. We did not receive any applications for allied health and nursing, so that will be moved to next week. But we did receive one application for residential life, so we're gonna go ahead and move into that. Can we have our candidate, can you raise your hand? Do we have a candidate for our residential life seat? Oh, okay. They said they can't use the raise your hand feature. Are you able to still participate? Could you unmute yourself?
Hello?
Okay. Hello. So how this is going to work is you'll have a 2-minute opening statement, and then we'll open the floor for questions, and then you'll have a 1-minute closing.
Okay.
So let me just pull up my timer real quick, and then we can get started. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Maddie Berg. I'm sorry you cannot see my actual face. My webcam has been having issues all today in class as well, so you just have this picture. This is not what I work in real life. This is just a drawing, but we'll go from there. I am running for the vacancy in the residential life senator. I currently live in Julius Sears, and the reason I am running for this position is I am a sophomore here, so I've been in the res halls since the day I've moved moved here or started here at Minnesota State Mankato, and I have seen, I guess you could say I've seen a lot, and I've seen how much of an impact, even like on myself and people I've been around and friends I've had, how much of an impact living in the dorms and living on campus, the residential life can have in bettering your college experience. And I wanted to run for this position because I feel like it can still be better, because obviously there's always a whole thing about pricing or the cost of living here, but really, the major reason, I guess you can say, I wanted to run for this center position is just because I'm a people person. I care about people. I care about their wants and their needs, and I want to listen to them and how we can improve life on campus for everyone who's here now and who could be coming in the future, current like high school seniors or juniors, and how we can get Res Life to the best it can be for the future Mavericks and current Mavericks we have here on campus. And I just, words are hard. I just want to help. Currently I'm a CA, or not CA, I'm a community representative in RHA. So, but that's just for my floor. That's just, or yes.
Thank you.
It's that too? Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you. So at this point, we're now going to open the floor for questions. Are there any questions for the candidate? Are there any questions?
I'll go.
President Trenny.
What's your biggest strength and weakness?
My biggest strength, I would say, is, I guess I'll tie back to I'm a people person. I can get along with anyone pretty well. I like to think that if you put me within any group of people from any background, I will do my best with them and work with them and be the kindest person I can be and help, and maybe in like this position, help them progress whatever they're trying to do. My weakness, I would say, is something I've been trying to work on, is I do sometimes get overwhelmed very easily. It is something I am working on, but it is a weakness I have. I can get overwhelmed very easily, and sometimes I will maybe lose sight of what I'm trying to do or lose focus. But like I said, I'm trying to work on that, because if I want to be a leader for this community or for this college, you got to stay on track, stay on focus, and not get overwhelmed when things start to pile up, or you get a major task to do, or you got to try and push something through or just help people. My weakness is I can get overwhelmed very easily, but I know I am doing my best to work on that so I don't get overwhelmed very easily, and I can stay calm and collected during moments.
Wonderful. Are there any other questions? Senator Gabbard.
Hello. Oh, I want to Andrew asks that question every single time. It's a good one. I would say, could you talk about your involvement in student government? I know you're on my committee, but do you want to talk about what are the things you'd be interested in if you were to get this position?
Yeah. So as she said, I'm on the marketing PR committee for student government already. I've been on that for like 2 weeks, 3, 4 now, and I did make a graphic for these vacancies we have here at student government. I don't know if they got up on the TV in the student union, because I know at the last meeting most of those positions got filled. But what was the second part of that question? What else would I like to do if I got this position?
Yes, that's correct.
So, really, I guess if I did get this position, I think I remember reading the application correctly, I would join. I guess I'll be on the committee for Res Life, and that would help. And
okay, thank you.
I mean, it's really
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just pretty much, if I get this position, I want to help any way I can on student government and help our student body in any way I can.
Wonderful. Vice President Maltari.
As you mentioned, you live in Julia Sears, and I just wanted to know, can you give me an example of how would you reach out to your constituents during the time of pandemic?
Excuse me?
Can you give me an example of how would you reach out to your constituents during the time of pandemic?
We do have a group chat for my floor, and I'm also on a group chat with fellow community representatives for our RHA community representatives. So if it's something I want to talk about with my floor, I can message them, or if I want to talk to somebody else on like the different floors or different areas of Julius Sears, I would like contact the other CA or CRs and ask them, hey, can you like maybe talk to maybe your floor people about something, or maybe just even talk to them one-on-one directly, because I mean they're also part RHA. That would help a little Res Life connection there, and I doubt I would like go in person because like it is a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic, and I really doubt I wouldn't make it a priority to go meet with people in person. But if I felt like it would be the most efficient, I would do it, but obviously safely, mask, probably definitely social distancing, not maybe. Definitely social distance and have a mask on and all that to make sure we are safe during this pandemic if I need to talk to somebody in Julius Sears.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move into closing statements. You have 1 minute whenever you're ready.
So, all right. Earlier when I got cut off for 2 minutes, I'm sorry about that, but when I finish it there, I am a community rep. I'm enjoying it, but I feel like this position will help me do better or give me a better chance at helping people in Res Life, in the Res Life halls, and help the student body we have here now, as I've been saying a lot, our future Mavericks, and down the road, because I'm a sophomore, I'm still here for 3 more years, 2.5-ish, you could say. And I just want to help the people. I care about people. I want everyone here at this great school. I love being here. It's my first choice pretty much. And I just want to help people. I want to make Minnesota State Mankato, University of Mankato, the best place to go to college in Minnesota. And it can start in the Res Life halls for the students who will live here, maybe for 1, 2, 3, or maybe all 4 years of their college experience. So I hope I did my best to show that I can be a Res Life senator today.
Thank you. So what's going to happen next is we're going to move you into a waiting room or a breakout room, and then we're going to go ahead and go into discussion and voting. So, yeah, so don't go anywhere. Don't leave the meeting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So with that, we're now going to enter a discussion period. Are there any points of discussion? I state your name.
I, Patrick Flynn,
Will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Manahil Khan,
Will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Thank you. Congratulations. You can now take your seat with the rest of the senators. I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav Mendonça,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University, Mankato,
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name,
I, Manav
Okay, thank you. So we have had an election today. Congratulations. So what we do next is I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. So if I can
Wait,
have
wait, wait. I think I missed the first part.
Oh, I said congratulations. You have been elected.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We can clap again.
Yeah, you cut out.
Okay. So what happens next is I'm now going to swear you in. So if you could raise your right hand and repeat
I'm sorry,
after
my
me.
camera doesn't work out. I'm doing it, I promise.
I believe you. Okay. I state your name.
I, Maddie,
Will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. So you will receive an email from me with more information. But congratulations.
Okey-dokey. Thank you so much.
Okay, so moving on in our other vacancies, I am here to officially announce we have an off-campus senator position available. That election will be held on the 14th. So moving on, we have no new business, we have no old business, so we're now going to go ahead and go into announcements. Are there any announcements? President Maltari.
The deadline to register for an RSO is today. So if you haven't registered your RSO, please do. And then, yeah, with that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? President Trenny.
She also forgot that the Chipotle fundraiser is next Wednesday. So it's 5 to 9. So I hope everyone here in person can also go get some Chipotle, but also you can use our code and DoorDash it if that's how you choose. So please, we encourage you guys to go get some Chipotle after dinner. And I heard Arnavi's buying for everybody. Oh, Anissa's buying. Anissa's buying. Okay, yeah, I heard that.
Are there any other less sassy announcements? John?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Several, at least Andrew and Arnavi, President Trini and Vice President Maltari have been involved in this so far this year. But this year will be the 7th annual You Lead Conference. Many of you have attended this event before and know it as I call it a conference-y event, meaning that we have a keynote speaker and breakout sessions and all of that kind of stuff. Due to the on-campus presence and the need to physically distance and have capacity limits and all of that kind of stuff, You Lead this year will actually take on the form of a You Lead week. So beginning on Monday, October 19th and going through Thursday, October 22nd, there will be 2 sessions offered every night. Those sessions are being confirmed right now. Most of them are confirmed. We're just getting slotted right now. And there will be more marketing forthcoming. But we did have some headway. We have been in negotiation with a keynote speaker who will be doing a virtual session. The keynote speaker is one of the most dynamic that we've had. As soon as the contract is inked, we'll be able to release that information. But if at the very least you're able to attend on Tuesday evening, the 20th of October, the keynote will be at 7 p.m., followed by a session that is very much related to the keynote but digs a little bit deeper. That will be at 8 o'clock. There will be attention. Each night there will be an opportunity to join one session in person that will be presented in this room. The keynote will also be broadcast much like this in this room for folks to participate like you are, although the presenter himself will be remotely. It'll be a specific, it'll be a session targeted and specific to us, but there'll be an opportunity to remotely engage with him as a group, and if you are joining from a distance as well. So we look forward to releasing more information. Like I said, I just got a yes this morning, and the details, the contract is being finalized, and we will be moving forward. But 19th to 22nd of October, 7 and 8 o'clock each night, and it'll be a great opportunity. So we're excited about moving forward with this event for the 7th time.
Awesome. Are there any other announcements? Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on. Is there any dissent to me waiving roll call, seeing as we're 22 minutes over? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing none, I assume unanimous consent. We're going to waive roll call and officially adjourn at 6:24. Thank you, everyone.
Well, yeah, Robert and team.
I state your name,
I, Patrick Flynn,
will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life and academic needs,
in student life and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.